Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I'm back to Italy, as you can see, and well I'm not in the same place, so as you can see. So I thought I would have shown you my bookshelves in Italy. They contain basically the vast majority of the books that I've read, and they are mostly in Italian, I must say. Okay, and they are quite a bit. So yes, there are quite a few books. So I thought, since I started recording this video and yeah, it's just too much, I would have divided it in 3 parts. In this part, which I already recorded, I will show you some classics, and they are mostly in Italian, and some various fiction together with my non-fiction and popular science bookshelf. So if you are interested in that, please stay with me. In my next videos I will cover the other 2 parts of my library. One is composed by this bookshelf down here, which is mainly books in English, and then I will cover the other shelves that I have. They are random things basically. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, this is going to take a while, but yeah, I'll probably go through the most interesting ones. So, this is the first book I ever recall opening myself, and so yeah, it's in Italian, but it's the Illustrated Chronicles of the Story of the World, and it's a bit religious because they start with Adam and Eve, but basically it's a gigantic family tree of people, and there are like all the important people of history inside, although I don't feel like it's really accurate. Other noteworthy books are Pinocchio. This is a gorgeous illustrated edition of the original, so it's the whole text. It's amazing. My favorite illustration in this one is of the snail, if you know what the character is, because I don't think it's not in the movie, in the Disney movie. Another blah blah blah, other things. This is a gorgeous book about going from mythology to history, and it's amazing. It's huge. Things I read when I was a boy. This is about flying. This is a non-fiction book about flying objects, because that was strange. A gorgeous book about Leonardo's machines. There are some deconstructions and 3D modeling of some of his codex. The oldest book in my library, this was written and published in 1902, I think. Yeah, it's just because it's old. Other books I read when I was a boy. This is Sandokan, which is, I don't know if you know who he is. Do you know? Whatever. So this is basically one of the major Italian adventure book writer, Emilio Salgari. And yeah, this is one of his major books. Book about whales, not the country whales, the ones that are in the sea. Book about pyramids, book about writing in Italian. Okay, now Agatha Christie. I don't particularly like her. The one I liked the most was Murder on the Orient Express, which is this one. Oops. Whatever. Oh god, this is like There's a Body in the Library or something. I should know the title in English, but I can't remember it. I didn't like it. And this is 5 novels, one after the other. Terrible. The Edda, this is not the poetic Edda, this is the Edda in prose, which is a collection of Nordic mythology, and it's amazing. You should read it. Again, this is an Italian edition. Collection of letters by Ivan the Terrible, or the Great. amazing. I'm interested in Russian history, and here there's a lot of stuff of what's basically not written in history books, because yeah, he's basically just screaming at everybody, being super racist about Finland, about Sweden. There was the Swedish king, and he was super obsessed with just saying that he was a terrible pig, and just amazing. The Fall of Arthur by Tolkien, not really my thing. A map of Middle Earth before it was Middle Earth, so after the creation. The Hobbit, old edition, new edition. This is a noted edition, annotated edition, gorgeous. Lord of the Rings, the whole trilogy, loved it. I should reread it. Yeah, and also probably it's marked somewhere. And now 2 editions of the Silmarillion. This is in English. Whoops, I haven't read it in English. I read it in Italian. This is the Italian edition. Well, let me. Oh, they are nice. The Italian editions are nice. I like them. Ooh. And they have like, yeah, they don't have edges. Yeah, pretty cute. 500 stuff. And mind games. Okay, so useless book. I didn't like the Colors of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I don't get his humor. Then Game of Thrones. I mean, A Song of Ice and Fire. All the 5 books. I read all of them in Italian, then in English, and I should reread them because I don't remember anything and I'm getting confused with what happened in the TV series. But they are too much. Okay, Raven Boys. This is the Italian edition, as you can see, because there is no the. It's just Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I read the first one, the second one, half of the third one, and hated the whole third one. But yeah, so I stopped. And Matthew told me it's terrible, the fourth one, so yeah. House for Special Children. I don't remember what's the title in English. Oh, yeah, you know what this book is. I quite liked it, actually. But yeah, I should probably read the second one. Genesis by Bernard Beckett. It's an amazing young adult book. It's a dystopia done in a very well way. Very good way, not well. Half Bad by Sally Green. I read the first one, never continued the series. I didn't quite enjoy... I did enjoy the first one. I'm not sure I want to continue though. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Amazing. Read it. And I will probably go there. Okay, sorry, I'm alternating between Italian and English, so I might have problems with it. Can you just focus? I mean, the continuity will probably be a bit off. Okay, it has focused. Yes. Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I quite loved it. I didn't read too much about by Neil Gaiman. I should probably read something else. Thing of non-Euclidean geometries. A book on Newton and on his life, his books, his discoveries. There is too much focus on the light part here. He's done other things far more interesting, such as discovering gravity, thing on fluid dynamics. Okay, The Physics of Superheroes by James Kakalius. No idea. Super amazing book if you're not a physicist, and also if you are a physicist. I was a physicist when I read it. They basically deconstruct each superhero and talk about his superpower or her superpowers, and how they could be explored in physics. I mean, from a scientific point of view, and it's very, very interesting. Just check it out. Oh God, what's the title in English of this one? Oh, I read it 4 years ago. Oh my God. Is it A Brief History of Time? Right. Yeah. Okay, this is basically the most important, the most famous book by Stephen Hawking, who died today, and I'm really sorry about him. But yeah, I mean, he had his life. He made amazing discoveries. So thank you for everything. If you want to start reading Stephen Hawking, start from A Brief History of Time and then move to the other ones. I haven't read the other ones, but this is quite well written. So yeah. Life on the Edge. Is this the first book in English? Oh no, it's not. On book on quantum biology, it's not really that great, but it's quite well written. Then, sorry, I have to sneeze. This is terrible. Okay. Bless myself. Alan Turing, The Enigma. This is the biography. Read this biography if you want to know the history behind the genius. I'm quite sorry that I have Benedict Cumberbatch on the cover, but yeah. This is by Andrew Hodges. It's quite thick with mathematics as well, but if you do want to know about him and about his discoveries, then I guess you have to know about the thing. I'm trying to... Yes, maybe this works and it's less tiring for me. Yes, it could be. Chaos, Making of a New Science by James Gleick, not Gleek. Or the American listening, this is Gleick. It's an interesting book on chaos theory. Read it if you're interested, and there are amazing pictures in it. I mean, this is a Lorentz attractor. This is the island of Koch. This is Mandelbrot set. If you're interested in fractals, you know what I'm talking about. Now we have 3 penguins. The first one is To End Everything, Click Here. To Save Everything, sorry. Click Here, by Evgeny Morozov. Not the most amazing book by the author. He's too much of a angry person in here and just says, oh, I'm right, you're wrong, the internet is bad. I didn't really like this book. The Turing's Cathedral by George Dyson, Freeman, his father. In this book, the whole history of computational everything is explored. Yeah, it's quite amazing actually. I did like this book, and it's quite thick. It's not the most well written book, but it's not that bad. On the other hand, Our Mathematical Universe by Max Tegmark is the most amazing book ever if you want to know about multiverses and multiverse, or parallel universes and such from a mathematical point of view, and also to properly understand them, because most of the times in general media the situation is a bit simplified, and oh god. Then a tiny book that is just useful at parties, and I mean, just look at it. It's interesting if you are interested in impressing people with mathematics. The Higgs Boson by Jim Baggett. Great book if you want to know about the Higgs boson. This is an Italian edition, of course, both from theoretical and experimental point of view. I loved it. I read it just after the discovery. Then we have QED by Richard Feynman. Oh, I missed this section in Italian. Well, whatever. Feynman was an amazing person and an amazing teacher. In this book, it covers the foundations and discovery of quantum electrodynamics. Read it if you're interested. And a thing that everybody should read if they are interested in experimental particle physics is smashing physics, which is basically the whole journey that brought to the discovery of the Higgs boson from a not from a scientific, sorry, from an experimental point of view. This is by John Butterworth, which is also the author of a section of the Telegraph, I think. Could be. He has sort of a blog in which he talks about physics all the time, and also you have my bachelor thesis co-advisor here. I marked it here. Anyway, worst book ever. Then some English titles. There is Play It Again by Alan Rusbridger. A cute book about learning something by working hard. It's not extraordinary. It's a good book. It's more interesting from the point of view of his life than just by what it's written in the book. And then we have a few Italian books here. These are all books that came with a magazine, a science magazine. So they are all about science. Let's talk about the ones that I want to talk about, and because they are relevant in English as well. Yeah, Physics of the Future by Kaku. This is the most terrifying book ever. It's not about physics, it's about discoveries in science and technology, and oh my god, and how they will change the world and make it a scary place. Scientist as a Rebel by Freeman Dyson. This is a clever book if you are a scientist. I don't know how many scientists watch this kind of videos. Probably they will watch it if I separate them, but I don't think they will. Anyway, it's about being a political scientist and talking to the rest of the world about what you do and what you want to do. The Universe Without Strings. I have no idea if this is the English title. Let me check a second. Woo. Just sing as I check it. La 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 la. The Trouble with Physics. Oh god. The Rise and of String Theory, The Fall of Science, and What Comes Next. This is the English title. Interesting, especially if you have read The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene, because he is very happy with string theory, but string theory has its problems, which are a lot, because you can't make experiments with it. So read this book, and I have no idea why this is separated, but yeah, anyway, I don't think there's anything really interesting. There's a book by David Foster Wallace about mathematics here, but it's not the greatest book ever. Oh, yeah. Einstein's Theory of Relativity. This is a book he wrote to basically teach people how he got to his idea and what his idea means from not just a physical point of view, but yeah, I mean, it's not for scientists, it's for people in general. And yeah, I mean, I have no idea what the English titles are for most of these books, and I feel like these are the most important ones that I have here. Okay, now the sections from now on will be basically divided by publisher, and these are all Italian books, so pardon my translations, and now again we'll go through the most interesting ones. In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. I didn't quite like it. I don't think it's the book for me. Still, it revolutionized the whole crime story thing, so it's amazing. In that sense, it wasn't amazing for me. Then I have something, then I have The Hunt of the Baskervilles by Conan Doyle. I'm not a Sherlock Holmes fan in the sense of written paper. I read a few of the books, but I don't quite like crime fiction that do not have really mean, ugly people killing other people and slaughtering them, basically. The Wonderful Kingdom of Oz, second book in the Oz series. Read all the books, please. I read the first 4, I think. This is far better than the first one. The Call of the Wild by Jack London, one of my favorite books. The Pianist by Spielman. It's a Polish author, so I can't pronounce the thing. This is a retelling of the Aeneid. What's the pronunciation in English? Anyway, this is not a poetic thing, and it's sort of shortened, so now I want to actually read the whole thing, but this was useful when I read it. This is the first book I ever read properly at school. It's quite a famous book in Italy. It's by Lodi, and yeah, well, it's about a bird. It's about a tiny bird that learns how to fly and whatnot. Oliver Twist by Dickens, not my favorite Dickens. White Tooth, is it the thing? White Fang? I'm trying to do a translation, but I prefer this one to The Call of the Wild. This is Un falcone nella notte by Zucconi. This is an Italian author. The translation, I don't know if it's translated in Italian, but it's an amazing book. It's like a hawk in the night. It's about Native Americans and the whole situation there. It's amazing. Whatever. This is useful. This is useless. I did like this book, but it's not amazing. Kim by Kipling. I did like this book. This is one of the Sepulveda's book. Whatever. I did like it, but not. This is an Italian retelling / translation of the whole Mallory. Sorry, you can't read the thing. Arthurian thing. And these are 2 Italian authors, and nobody knows them outside of Italy. But this is not an author, but this is a person who had to deal with mafia, and so I mean, this book is quite great. And I haven't read this last one, but he's a journalist. Okay, yes, let's keep. This one is quite a nice book, and you can guess what it is about. Interesting book again. Atonement by McEwan, which I liked but I didn't love. I still want to read something else by McEwan, and I feel like in this case the movie was better than the book. Sorry. A collection of short stories by Carver, and the collection of poems by Carver. I did like the second one more than the first one, but I want to read other short stories he wrote. Sorry, I'm getting tired already. 2 books by an Italian author, of which I read only the first one. It's quite the most amazing book. Well, I did love this book. And the translation of the title is The Swan, and the guy is Scott Vassalli. So I don't know, you can check if it's translated. Yeah, another Italian author we can skip. I mean, this is quite a nice book though. But I don't feel like it's translated anywhere. Crichton, some of his books, Jurassic Park, which I loved, Timeline, which I didn't because it deals with time travels and it's not done correctly in this thing. Well, it's not done well, not correctly. Next, which deals with genetic engineering, and it's quite great. The Rising Sun, it's quite racist actually. Congo is the first book I read, and it's probably my favorite. I don't know, either Next or Congo, and we can skip this one because it's awful. But Congo has to do with gorillas and such. I don't know if you know what Jurassic Park is. Basically try and translate the whole idea of Jurassic Park, so this scientific thriller with other scientific things, basically. And this is the Einaudi section, on which we have Jean-Pierre Vernant with the universe, the gods, and the men. I feel like it should be translated in this way, but it's a great book about gods, the concept of divinity and whatnot. A book about resistance during the Second World War in Italy. The four books by Salinger, Catcher in the Rye, Franny and Zoe, 9 short stories, and no idea what the thing is. Two of Don DeLillo's books. We have Cosmopolis, which I quite liked, not truly, and Underworld, which I quite liked, but it's too big for me. It was too long for me to properly enjoy it. A book by Primo Levi, which is an Italian author. He was also sent to a concentration camp during his life, but this is before everything. He wrote another book, which is, I feel like it's pretty famous. But this is about his life before the concentration camp, and he was a chemist. And so, yeah, the translation would be the periodic system. And so he looks at his life through chemical elements that are linked to certain events of his life. It's quite a nice book. I did love it. The trilogy of City of K, I have no idea if this is the English title, but it's by Agota Christoph. And yeah, a movie should come out soon, and this is a great book. Read it if you have the chance. Whoa. I know that this book is translated in English, and it's 54 by The Booming, which are a group of Italian writers. This is not their most amazing book. There are other books that I love way more, but this deals with communism and the separation of Yugoslavia and so on, if that's the English pronunciation. Then we have The Broom of the System by David Foster Wallace, which I loved. Thing that I didn't with Infinite Jest. And The Sleepwalker, no, this has another title in English. Oh, I should remember it, but this is a German psychothriller author that I want to read more about. Okay, I have 10 minutes left in my webcam, which means, so it's not a webcam, it's a camera, which means that I have to go faster. Let's go through some of them. These are all actually basically translated fiction, most of them at least. Lord of Flies by Golding, that I love but I hate in a certain way. It makes me angry when I read it. Dubliners by James Joyce, which I hated. Luckily I loved A Portrait of the Artist as a young man. No idea how this is translated, but this is the gayest thing ever. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. It's amazing. Basically everybody knows what this is about, and people who haven't read it should read it. Oh no, some Italian things. This is quite good actually. I hope it's translated. I don't think it is though. Heart of Dog by Bulgakov, very nice. I preferred other things. Let's keep some of it. Oh, The Music by Mishima. This is a great book, and I should read something else by the author. One of my favorite books ever in this very loved and very old edition is Ivanhoe by Walter Scott. It's a historical book, historical fiction about knights and stuff. There's Robin Hood in it. Oh god, my camera is dying. I won't finish it here. 2 books by Barker. The first one I liked, the second one I didn't. Pereira Mountains, which has been recently translated in English, whoops, by Tabucchi, and you should read this book. This is amazing. This is the most amazing book ever. I love this book. Read it. Blah blah blah. Let's keep some book. Well, something by Pirandello. This is a novel. I don't really like him as a novel author. I prefer his theater. Slaughterhouse Number 5. I also have it in English. Alice in Wonderland. I preferred Behind the Looking Glass. Some other things. This is a book by Banana Yoshimoto, and I didn't like her. I didn't like this book. Then I have Candido L'Ottimisme by Voltaire. It's quite a nice book. This is a Italian classic about death penalty. Is that the way it's called in English? Other things. This is The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I didn't really like. I'm not the greatest fan. I don't know what this thing is called in English, but yeah, you should read this one. Look for the author. It's an historical fiction about the end of the 19th century in southern Italy. Non-fiction book about the whole secret ideas in fairy tales and yeah, whatever. An autobiography of Tim Burton. And now I have some dicks. I used to read one a month, so I used to love saying I will have my dick of the month, but yeah. Anyway, sorry. This is the worst book he ever wrote. This is a nice book, but I have no idea what's the title in English. It has to do with Mr. Last. So, yeah. Ubik is probably his most famous book. Read it, even though, he was a drug addict, and you can clearly see here. This is the Man in the High Castle, which is translated as the swastika on the sun in Italian. And this edition contains also the first chapters in the sequel, which I'm happy it didn't continue, because it was continuing. It was about to continue that with dimension travel, and yeah, it wasn't really the cleverest idea ever. Oh god, I moved the Angola's flag, so let's have a communist thing. Anyway, it should be here because I put it where the swastika is. Siddhartha by Hesse. It's a nice book, I liked it. Whoops. And let's skip some of them. This is The Bone Collector. I did love it. Then I have some Steinbeck, of which that I know the translation is Of Mice and Men, that I loved. Then there is the Butler, I think. This is very communist, and I have no idea, but this is about Pippin the Fourth. Then I have a book by Alice Munro. I have no idea what the title is in English, but it's a great book. Then I have The Marriage Plot by Jeffrey Eugenides, which I loved. I should read Middlesex and Virgin Suicides. Then I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which is nice but not great. I didn't quite like this book. I did like it, but it was predictable, to say the least. Oh yeah, sorry, I have Wild by whatever her name is. I liked it, but people are making it a huger thing than it is. It's just not the feminist manifesto. It's just about a person deciding to finally do something with her life. Heart of Darkness by Conrad, which I loved. I don't get why people don't like this book. No idea what's the title in English. This is a basically the Italian copy of The Pains of Young Werther, or however it is translated in English. And I have The Master and Margarita by Bulgakov, which I loved. And I also like this edition. Then I have some Roman and Greek classics. I have the Fables of Phaedro. I have no idea what's his name in English. I have the Apologia of Socrates by Plato, and the Crito, I think it's the other book. The Metamorphosis by Apuleius. I have no idea what you call that. This is also called The Golden Donkey, and the Satyricon. These are great books. I should read more of Roman literature. And then I have some other books, which the most noteworthy is this one, which I hope people would translate sooner or later, but this is a great book. I will probably I would read that and translate as I read it to people, because it's quite a good book. And yeah, some other stuff, sorry, it's blurry. Anyway, Why the Last Man, which is a comic book series, and I haven't finished yet, but I'm keeping on reading it in digital copies, because this was killing my wallet. And Attack on Titan, which are Italians, that I ended because I was finding it boring after a certain time. Okay, so this was everything that I had to show to you for today. Stay tuned for the next videos, I guess. I will record them in the next few days, so I mean, they are not up yet. If you're watching these things on Thursday the 15th of March 2018, in case you are watching it later, they may be up, no idea. But in case you have my same feelings about books, or you have different feelings about books, I'm getting quite tired with my shoulders, let me know in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to check them out. And if you don't, I guess we'll see each other in the next video, or you'll see me in my next video. Bye!